Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. For this installment, the tarot cards I'm using are the Gilded Tarot Royale by Ciro Marchetti. Is it Ciro? Yep. And then text by Barbara Moore. Where is the website? Is it at the bottom? Yeah. Social media links and all that good stuff is at the bottom. I don't remember what it is. I want to say it's like Hay House or something, or is that U.S. Games? Llewellyn. Should be right there. Is it Llewellyn. You saw it. Supportive Oracle cards. You Are Clairvoyant Oracle cards by Belinda Grace. Illustrations by Elaine Marzin. Website on the back here, rockpoolpublishing.com.au. A as an apple, use an umbrella. Freeze frame on that and check it out if you're interested. The dice I use a 22-sided dice for the major arcana. I substitute 22 for 0 for the Fool. And then I use 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and I use a 4-sided dice to choose the element. This is where they came from. The dice shop and the website is mathartfun.com. Feel free to check that out if you are so interested. That being said, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. And with that out of the way, let's go on to your reading. Hello, Aquarius. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for when you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Aquarius? Ooh, your card right at the top. So there's a moment here that can go more to your liking. You got a lot of complementary cards here, ironically. And I say ironic because there's definitely a conflict here, and it's all about where you want this conflict to be after it's done. Not everybody's going to be happy with this. So is life, right? I don't mean to be that... I'm crass. That was crass. All right, you got it. You got it. It's true. I was crass. Not everybody's going to like this, but enough people will, and you can. Your energy's looking good, actually. So I don't know if this situation's going to go ideally, but there's definitely a lot of information that you've already absorbed. And I feel like whatever's coming next with this conflict, I keep looking at it like I didn't expect that, but I knew it was possible, but I didn't think they'd do that. I feel like this is where we're going next. Like, oh, I knew they could. I just didn't think they would. Definitely that's coming forward. And I feel like it's connected to somebody who is usually very compatible with other people, usually does things according to what other people want, somebody who's very accommodating, maybe. So I feel like this is the person we're centering on. So I kind of I knew they could, I just didn't think they would. Now, whatever they're doing, it's creating a block, and it's creating conflict immediately. It almost reminds me, what I keep getting is I keep seeing a lady who's a lot stronger than people realize. And she's fed up with the situation, even though she's very nice and gets along with people very well, really good person. All of a sudden she's she left her marriage and she's like living in another state, and she just made this quick change. It's like she's gone. She left. She's done. And I feel like there's nothing that people can do to stop her, but there's a lot of discord left behind. Like, people underestimated her. And like when I'm getting this analogy, I'm not seeing like more people living with them. Like, say it was either a couple without children, or a couple that maybe they've already raised their children and they're done with that, the children don't live with them anymore, or they're of age where they can raise themselves at this point. And she's just kind of like, you know what, I've had it, made my decision, bye, y'all have a good time. this is where the shock comes in. I feel like you understand why. I just feel like maybe, for example, you live in this area and you're like, I really like that person. I really would love them still in my life where I could go visit them. I understand they had to do what they had to do, and I wish them well in what they're doing next, but I'm kind of sad that they left at the same time. I feel like I'm completely like, I knew that she could do that. I just didn't think she would. One of those things, just for an analogy. But this is where opportunity knocks for you. Because whoever it is, so if we're going to use the same analogy, and it's just an analogy, however it hits for you, that person is still talking to you. I don't know. So you have connection with them still. So it's like, for example, if somebody moves out of state now, they take their same phone number, don't they? I want to say they do. And you probably have social media connections or whatever. You still have connection to them. You can still communicate to them. And maybe this is one of those things. I'm using a very dramatic analogy. It doesn't have to be that dramatic. It could be simple, like maybe this is somebody who works for a certain company and people thought they'd be there for the rest of their life, and all of a sudden they're just like, last day was 5 seconds ago, so bye. And they went somewhere else to a different company and they got better opportunities. Maybe that's a more palatable, but it seems extreme to people, is what I keep getting. You still have connection. Whether it's the analogy where somebody moved out of state and it was unexpected, or somebody went from wherever you work to a different place, these two cards together are telling me you have the ability to do this as well. And they're telling you how they did what they did, and who knows, they might invite you to join in with them after the fact. Because I feel like I'm coming up to this situation where I could make this change too. I could mirror this situation. Maybe you're not gonna, like, for example, this person moved out of state. Maybe you're not gonna go to their state or move in with them, but you could. It could be an option. It may just, maybe you're gonna do something similar. Again, with the business thing, maybe this person went to a different company. They're like, I can help you get in where I am, Aquarius, if you want it. Or they'll be like, well, you know what? I was actually interviewing with 5 different companies. This is just the best one, but by the way, these other couple companies have the same opportunities. If you're interested, I didn't take those positions, but I'm pretty sure you could get them if you want them. Something like that is coming from this, because I feel like they're sharing information with you that is opening doors and kind of like, you know what? They did it. Worked out good for them. I'm kind of done with this situation. Maybe, because there's a balance coming out with this. There's a balance, kind of like, if you're considering a change like that, you might also want the same type of change. You might also have similar feelings to this other person, and there's a possibility where you can mirror the effect. I'm not saying it off the bat when you see it happen, you're going to be warm and fuzzy to that thought, but I feel like as time passes, you're like, you know what? I can see where I would enjoy such a change myself. The moment is going to come up where it's either do or don't. Queen of Wands shows up. The Queen of Wands doesn't hang out and just wait for you to decide to move or not. This person shows up. You need some help? You want to go with me? Great. You don't? Gotta go. You want to think about it? All right, well, think about doing it by yourself then, because I gotta go. That's how this energy works. It doesn't sit around and wait for you to make a decision. It's just kind of like, I'm here. Are you coming? Or are you not? You're not? Wait, you don't know? I do. I know that I'm going. You're either going to be in the car or you're not. I'm not going to sit here for half an hour while you hem and haw about it. I'm leaving in 5 minutes. You're either in the car or you're not. And that's fine. If you, like, I feel like if this reading is going to be hitting, if this reading hits for you, if you get stuck in the, I don't know, you're not getting anything from this. You have to make your decision up before you get there. And it's like the base decision. I'm going to go or I'm going to stay. If you're going to default, you're going to stay. So you might as well just choose to stay. So that's default. Like, even a default is a choice. Kind of like, it reminds me as a kid. You want to go to the store? I don't know. I'm leaving in 5 minutes. Well, I might go. I'm walking out the door. I don't know. All right, well, I do. And then you just go. And then they kind of like, they defaulted to the no. They should have just said that to begin with. So like not making a choice is still making a choice, if that makes sense. You know what I mean. They're saying don't do that. Make a decision on what direction you want to go and go that direction. For some of you, it may be to stay, but if you are considering going, they're saying, why would you consider going? Like, what here is not to your liking that you would consider moving on from? And by choosing to stay, to actively stay, also choose to change those things with whatever power you have. You are Aquarius. You can see things other people can't. You can see possibilities other people have no clue exist. Whatever the situation is that you don't like, let's start changing it. Let's start manipulating it. If you were considering going, there was a reason. What were those reasons? What can we do to make them more palatable or more enjoyable for you? If you consider to go, or if you decide to go, lock in with that and then go and make it happen. Go with that energy. I feel like this is a big thing about active choice. Default gets sloppy choice results. It's just like actively choose which way you want to go and make things change whichever you choose. Make it more palatable to what you want, whichever you choose. I do feel like this is one of those moments where as long as you actively choose one way or the other, as long as you do, it'll start off very interesting. Maybe you decide to go. It'll move kind of slowly at first. It'll feel like I don't fit in at first. But then all of a sudden you'll hit your moment and you'll just click like that. I've had a couple jobs like that. So if this is a business thing, to me it makes sense. Where it's kind of like I started new jobs and I'm like, I don't know if I fit in here. I don't know if this is really the environment for me. I don't even know if this is the job for me. And then 2, maybe 3 months pass and it's all of a sudden like, I feel like I fit. I feel like I like it here. I feel like it makes sense to me. I know where this goes. I know where that goes. I feel comfortable where I am. Same thing seems to happen if you decide to not move forward, by the way, as long as it's an active choice. All right, so maybe it was like keeping the current house or moving somewhere else and finding a different house. So maybe it's like, no, I'm going to keep this house. Why was I considering maybe moving? I don't like that there's no porch out front. I don't like the color of the house, and it does seem a little bit small. So I look into it like, okay, could this house legitimately have add-ons? Could I put like another room or possibly 2 behind the house and add that in? Could I add on a porch? How much would that cost? How could I start saving for that? Do I have the money for that? What could I do to make this work in my benefit? If I have a main job and it's like, well, it doesn't seem like that really gives me the money to make the changes I want, do I have the possibility for a second source of income? How would I do that? And I could just save that income and put it towards what I really want for this house. It seems like it starts slow. It's kind of like, all right, I know what I want. I know it's going to cost at least $20,000, $30,000. We're just going to say for argument's sake, at least. So I found a secondary income. Every penny I make, I'm putting towards that. Before I know it, I've saved more money or opportunities have come my way. Maybe I've saved $10,000 and I have a business that says, you know what, we'll start working for you as long as you pay us this much up front, and then you can do payments like this going forward. And you're like, you know what, maybe I'll do that. Opportunity, it's like it starts off slow and then it just jumps forward full force. As long as you make that active choice, I feel like it's going to be the healthy choice. That's this card? No, that's this card. And just, I feel like when I see automatic writing for you, I feel like you want to document what you're doing the best you can. This situation, I feel like I want to look back on it and realize where I was versus where I am. So I feel like this is advice for a lot of you to document where you started from to where you ended up. This might be something you revisit later that might inspire you to keep going or make more changes to your benefit. Some of you might need that. Kind of like you might need that written record for you to look back on to remind yourself not only what you went through, the success you got from it, but to remind you of how strong you really are. I get that the situation is compatible for you, but there's one little piece. I just don't want to leave it untouched. While judgment goes in your favor, it seems like you might have some people that seem to have their little pot shots or they say things negatively. You're Aquarius. You have certain gifts and attributes. People might be looking for the fault in what you did because one of two things is happening here. Either they can't do what you do, or they don't believe in themselves enough to make it happen. Could be a combination of both. I feel like what they're saying is like, see that for what it is, and don't invest in it. If other people just seem to have an issue with whatever you're doing, and no matter what it is, they like to find fault with it, or they like to poo-poo, or they like to say, oh, yeah, Aquarius got that, but yeah, they're that type of person. Like, they're like almost like they're like making you this ogre, like you had the nerve to get what you wanted. Oh, well, you know, you're a downtrodden person and blah, blah, blah. There might be some negative things around you. I would just not invest in it, because sometimes that's all people want, is to, like, they want that attention and they want to create that discord. If you don't play the game, you're no fun. And if you're no fun, they're going to eventually leave you more alone than they would if you played the game. I don't know who needs to hear that, but in case you need to hear that, I feel like that might, I don't know how often that's going to play. I feel like that might be a long life lesson for that. If you haven't already realized it, like I realized it very young. Like, if you let people hurt you and you play into it, they just keep getting worse. But if you stop reacting towards them, it's no fun for them, and eventually they leave you alone. At least not as effectively anyway. They're not as much of an issue. I'm not even saying that's the best way to handle that. That's what's coming forward, and that's what I've learned, so we'll go with that. Anything else? I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email. jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.